Welcome back to day 13 of the 100 Horror Films in 31 Days. You may be seeing this Astros hat for the last time. I think they're going to get swept. I'm betting on them getting swept tonight by Tampa Bay. Oh well. Altuve needs to throw the ball better. I don't know what's wrong with him. For those of you watching baseball. Anyway, to get back to movies. I got in 5 films today. First up is a film I've watched numerous times, 1972's What Have You Done to Solange? Maximo Delimano, who directed What Have You Done to the Daughters or Your Daughters. He's kind of got a fetish for this type of stuff. This is really a sleazy giallo starring Fabio Testi. And it's about a group of young girls who are being murdered off. And obviously you've got a guy that's involved with one of the girls from a sexual standpoint, that he gets involved with her and tries to figure out what's going on, who's doing the killings, and in fact becomes a suspect himself, as is in many giallos. You've got all kinds of red herrings and things like that. This is one of the best giallos I think ever made. I mean, I've watched it numerous times, and I'm always in the 8 to 9 range every single time. It's a great story, and it's got some great kills in it. It keeps you on the edge of your seat. I think it's just a great giallo. It's one of the best. This is an Arrow release, and you've got a booklet and Blu-ray DVD. But yeah, I gotta definitely recommend, if you're new to giallos and you don't mind the ones that are more of the sleazy sexual type stuff, then this had some obviously what it's dealing with, some of the subject matter we're talking about here with teens and teen pregnancy. You can imagine. So yeah, this is just a really, really all around good giallo. Okay, next up. Let's do Oasis of Fear, or An Ideal Place to Die. Another giallo. Yesterday, obviously, the theme was giallos. So, what Have You Done with Solange was the pick of the day. This is a 1971 film, directed, of course, by Umberto Lenzi. And it is a very sleazy film. It's even more sleazier than What Have You Done to Solange? In fact, it's got some X-rated scenes that are in the extras of this Mondo release, if you're interested in that. This is one of the sleaziest ones. I liked it. I think I don't think it's Umberto Lenzi's best giallo. But I do give it a 6 out of... I think I gave it a 6.5 out of 10. The storyline basically is a woman who, for money, money is always the root of all evil in giallo. And this woman kills off her very rich husband and then tries to frame 2 kind of hippie guy, a man and girl that basically try to break in and steal gas from her, and she takes that opportunity to try to frame them for the murder of her husband. That's basically the story. It's sleazy, definitely sleazy. It's not as big on kills. You don't have as many fashionable kills a la Dario Argento style, but it's an interesting story, and it's well acted. I liked it. Ray Lovelock stars in this one, so definitely recommend Oasis of Fear or An Ideal Place to Kill. Then I watched 2 films streaming. So I watched The Tenant. I've never seen The Tenant. Roman Polanski's masterpiece from 1976. Never watched it. And I watched it on Amazon Prime finally, because I was kind of debating about whether I wanted to buy the Scream Factory release. And it's a brilliant psychological study of a guy who comes upon an apartment and the previous tenant committed suicide. And there's strange goings on in the building. And he really, I mean, basically, he just kind of starts to go crazy, if you want to boil it down. But it's a fascinating character. I mean, it's 2 hours long, and some people would say, well, it's very slow, but there's a lot going on. What I like about the Polanski films, and this one in particular, is there's a lot going on, even though it's unspoken. There's little mannerisms, just little things that clearly give you an indication that things are not right, you know, and it gradually progresses to a crescendo ending. It's a great film, no doubt about it. I give it an 8.5 out of 10. Awesome film. Highly recommend it. And then I watched, and this is another Scream Factory release that I was thinking about buying as far as the sale, was Firestarter, 1984. Firestarter is one of the Stephen King adaptations that's never really sat well with me. And I mean, I just don't like it. I just don't like it. Mark Lester directed it, and of course he's done a lot of good movies. I mean, I don't think it's a direction issue. I think it's just the basic story. I found this basic story of this girl who has these psychic powers and she can cause fires to start just not very interesting or compelling. George C. Scott is in it. I love George C. Scott. I don't know. Drew Barrymore. I mean, I thought the acting is good in it. I just don't think it's a very compelling story. Basically, the story is that the government finds out about this girl's special powers along with her father, who also has kind of psychic abilities, and they try to capture them to study them, and George C. Scott is part of that mix. Yeah, I mean, it's well acted. It just kind of washes over me, and when it's over, it's like, whatever. But yeah, I give it a 6 out of 10. Maybe it just may be me, you know. I don't know. I just not a big fan of the film. Next up, last film here. I watched so many. I'm looking at Letterboxd, by the way, to see what I watched in what order. I opened up I've had this for years. This is the Legends of Horror box set DVD. And I watched Dr. X, 1932, Lionel Atwell and Fay Wray. It's a quick, short watch. It's in color. It's colorized. It's a strange movie, very campy, as a lot of the 30s horror movies were very campy. Mad scientist stuff about a guy that's got a penchant for flesh because he thinks that he can, by capturing and killing people and taking their flesh, he can reconstruct himself. I mean, yeah, it's just a bizarre story. Lionel Atwell, again, Lionel Atwell's such a great actor. He's fantastic in this. Fay Wray is very good in this as his daughter. It's a good film. It's a good film. I enjoyed it. I'm not going to say it's. I give it a 7. Yeah, 7 out of 10. It's you've always got the wisecracking reporter trying to solve the killings and the mystery, and he's always sticking his nose into the proceedings. Some of these stories are, particularly in the 30s and 40s, they tend to have a very similar script and storyline, but they're entertaining, and I grew up with this type of stuff. Haven't watched. Take that back. I've watched this before. Dr. X with Return of Dr. X with Humphrey Bogart. Probably going to watch that this week. Okay, well, that's going to do it for day 13, and I appreciate you watching. Thanks.